Hi, my name is Yoshi Terauchi from Japan, the inventor of the Terauchi File Retrieval Kit. I'm here with Dr. Buchanan to share with you detailed technique to remove a broken instrument. Okay, first, I broke an instrument in an extracted tooth, and I cut it in half, and I found the apical portion of the broken instrument was not surrounded by denting, while the coronal portion of the broken instrument was surrounded by denting wall. So that way, you can save a lot of time because all you do is just create a small space between the broken instrument and the canal wall in the coronal 1/3. The literature shows ultrasonic removal time ranges from 3 minutes to over 60 minutes. Do you know why? Why? Because there is no standardized technique to remove a broken instrument with ultrasonics. Everybody has his or her own way to remove the broken instrument with ultrasonics. I have many cases referred by dentists, and the previous dentist already attempted broken file removal. The canal is already wide enough, so I didn't have to use Gates Grudenberg. You know, the path to the broken instrument is already created by the broken instrument. So there should be no problem enlarging the canal to the broken instrument. Right. All you have to do is increase the diameter to the broken instrument. Trephine bar. I would say, in my case, 30%. Because when the coronal portion of the broken instrument is in a straight canal or slightly curved canal, smaller than 15 degrees, I would use a micro trephine bar to expose the coronal portion of the broken instrument. It's very simple. But don't use the micro trephine bar longer than 5 seconds because you get debris in the hole. I usually use the DG16 and put it in the hole of the instrument and rotate the instrument to remove the debris. You have to keep doing that several times. On average, 3 times. I don't think you can expose the coronal portion with just a single insertion. It has to be rotated counterclockwise at 600 RPM because it provides unscrewing effect. If you rotate clockwise, you end up screwing the broken instrument. If you are lucky, actually I have several cases where I removed the broken instrument with just a micro trephine bar. If the curvature is larger than 15 degrees, I would immediately use number 7012 GT file to increase the diameter of the canal. You can always start with number 7012 GT files because you can have enough space. And it's very safe. You don't want to wreck the canal. The size 70 is not big. If you look at the coronal portion of the broken instrument, it always comes in the middle 1/3. So it's not a big deal to increase the size up to number 70 if the diameter is around the middle 1/3. Because whenever you have to use a loop device, the instrument should be longer than 4.5 millimeters, which makes the coronal end in the middle 1/3. I use CBCT. You can see it 3-dimensionally. Pay attention to the coronal 1/3 of the broken instrument. Don't look at the apical portion, apical curvature. Just look at the coronal portion. For example, when the apical portion of the broken instrument is around the curve, it doesn't matter. As long as the coronal portion of the broken instrument is in a straight canal or in a curvature smaller than 15 degrees, it doesn't matter. You can just use a Gates Grudenberg or the micro tripping bar. That's very easy. You can measure the curvature in a few seconds. This is very simple. If you can see the broken instrument under the microscope, everything is predictable, because you know you are creating a small space, semicircular space around the broken instrument. It has to be semicircular, not rectangular, because with a denting wall behind the ultrasonic activation site, you can delay the secondary fracture. You always have to start with a spoon tip, because it's very efficient to create a small space, semicircular space, because it's curved. And if you start with, of course you can start with a straight tip, but it takes more time. Right. So you don't want to spend more time with the straight tip. Right. So that's why it's better to start with a spoon tip. But the spoon tip covers only one quarter of the circle. So you have to use a straight tip after the spoon tip to make the space 180. Oh, I usually take the micro explorer to the canal and remove it. You see the deformation like this. In addition to the CBCT, I usually find many cases with double curvature, because many instrument fractures around the double curvature, not a single curvature. Yes. Because it covers, the spoon tip covers only one quadrant. It's difficult because you can just rotate maybe 10 degrees. That's not gonna make a semicircular space. But if you're lucky, you can see the broken instrument dancing with the spoon tip. Okay. But that's rare. But usually you need a straight tip. The depth of the space should be 1/3 of the broken instrument length. If you don't see the broken instrument dancing with ultrasonics, then you have to deepen the space in an epical direction. Preparation is finished when you see the instrument dancing with ultrasonics. So it's already loose. You have to use up and down motions within the space created. Because if you are out of the space, you may touch the end of the broken instrument, and you may push it in an apical direction, which is not good. And don't stay on the outside wall, just stay on the inside wall. If you push it from the outside wall, then you are as good as pushing the instrument in an apical direction. That's crazy. Right. You are making the case much more difficult. As long as you are pushing the instrument on the inside wall, that's not going to happen. So that's why the instrument has to be real sharp as possible. Because if you, with a big ultrasonic tip, you could touch it. Because ultrasonic energy can be transmitted to the broken instrument very easily if the size of the if the size of the ultrasonic tip is too big. You have to take CBCT to know which side is inside, because CBCT shows, small anatomies. Because you know where the space you created is. So I usually bring the ultrasonic tip along the root canal, along the wall to the space. It's very simple because you are working under the microscope, and you can see the space between the broken instrument and the canal wall. There is a space, always space. I found this from my empirical findings. Most of the files came out in 10 seconds. Usually 3 seconds, or maybe at least 5 seconds. If it didn't come out in 10 seconds, something wrong. When the instrument didn't come out in 10 seconds, then check the size of the tip that you used. If it's thin enough, then you would need to proceed to the loop device to get the instrument out. Otherwise, if you keep activating ultrasonics, regardless of the time, 10 seconds, you would use a lot of venting. Because sometimes if you don't know what's going on in the canal, if you use a big diameter ultrasonic tape, you may be blocking the space for the broken instrument to come out through. Okay, you have to use pulsing motions to keep the temperature down as well as instrument fracture. Each second, you activate ultrasonics and you deactivate ultrasonics. When the canal is full of debris, then I stop activating ultrasonics and I irrigate the canal, dry the canal, and go back into the canal. You can dry the canal with air, and after that, you can place a paper point into the canal to dry it. Yeah, you know, the literature shows the thinner tape tends to break, but the thinner tape can be very effective when it is used at the lowest power setting. I usually start with power 1, then if it's not efficient, then I will increase the power up to 4, but not beyond 4. I never used the power beyond the 4. If you have to use a bigger diameter tape, then you need more power to activate it, to make it effective. Actually, I don't care. Because if it breaks, I always sharpen the tape with a metal polishing point. If the spoon tip breaks, you can convert it to a straight tip. I use it until it gets too short to use. Maybe 3 or at most 4, not 5, 4 times. So first of all, when you have to use a loop device, the broken instrument has to be loose, already loose. You have to see it dancing with ultrasonics because a loop device is not designed to remove the broken instrument by force. So don't use your force to remove it. You have to be gentle to take the instrument out with a loop device. When you feel resistance, you have to try several directions, like a 3 o'clock orientation, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or maybe 12 o'clock. So as you close the loop, you will start feeling resistance, tension on the loop. Then you have to maintain the tension on the loop, be gentle, and take the instrument out with the loop device. But when you feel resistance from the broken instrument, then you have to be gentle again and try several directions, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or 12 o'clock. Because the broken instrument is already loose, which means you don't need force to get the instrument out. I know many people try to use a loop by force, and they break the loop. So it's not good. That's why I can always use a loop at least 5 times until it breaks. You have to adjust the loop size to the diameter of the broken instrument with a DG16. If you want to make it smaller, then use the apical portion of the DG16. If you want it to be larger, use the coronal portion of the DG16. If you want it to be medium, use a middle portion. How do you know we have the space for the loop device to be placed in? Actually, you have to measure the space with pluggers, such as Buchanan pluggers. There are 3 sizes available. The first one is number 25, the second one is number 40, the third one is number 70. And I usually start with the number 25 because the loop device is about the size of number 40 K file. But it's a little bit smaller than number 40 K file. So if you can just place number 40 Buchanan plugger into the space, then you can place the loop device. How do you measure the broken instrument diameter. It's difficult, right? So again, I use Buchanan pluggers. If you play, you start with number 25 Buchanan plugger on the instrument. If you see a part of the instrument behind the number 25 Buchanan plugger, it's wider than the number 25 Buchanan plugger. You have to use a nickel titanium instrument, always 3 sizes larger than the broken instrument. So you have more space to work on it. If the diameter of the broken instrument is like number 40, then you have to use number 55 nickel titanium instrument. Then you measure the space created with the Buchanan pluggers. Then if you have space, you can place a loop over the broken instrument. Of course, you need the space besides number 40 space. In addition to that, you need the space for the diameter of the broken instrument. So altogether, it requires, on average, 0.7 millimeters. So it depends on the size of the broken instrument. If the broken instrument is number 30, then, the coronal diameter of the broken instrument is number 30, you need a space 0.7 millimeter wide. It's difficult to see the space with the K file or other file. Buchanan plugger is much easier to measure the space. You can always start with number 25 Buchanan plugger. Then if you see a part of the instrument behind the number 25 Buchanan plugger, then you can go back into the canal with number 40 Buchanan plugger. And if it's still too small, then you can go back into the canal with number 70 Buchanan plugger. And it covers the entire part of the broken instrument. Then maybe the size of the broken instrument is between number 40 and number 70 Buchanan plugger. So you can imagine what the size of the broken instrument is. No, don't worry. Okay, Albert Einstein, he said imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay, because imagination affects your mentality or your decision. Before you start your treatment, and if you think this is difficult, then you lose your mentality, you lose your passion. Right. So to maintain your passion, you have to think this is easy. Or you have to do it just to follow the protocol, which is predictable, which provides, productivity.